Do you have a habit of slouching when you are sitting down at work? If so, you probably also experience back pain, neck pain, and shoulder pain. And one of the best ways that you can combat bad posture and poor alignment is to practice what are called pulling exercises or pull-based exercises. So let's take a look at some of my favorite pulling exercises to use for my clients and to help myself to strengthen the back and improve posture. Welcome to the Coaching Corner podcast. I'm Jade Harrison. I'm a personal trainer, and I have created this podcast to help you to get lean, get strong, without shame and without burnout. In today's episode, we're going to be going over a variety of exercises that you can do to develop your back strength, improve your posture, and reduce your neck and back pain. These exercises are listed in order of most beginner friendly to more advanced variations with heavier weights. So if you would like to improve your posture and you would like to reduce your stiffness and pain in your neck and in your back, this is a great podcast episode to listen to. Before we get into the episode, make sure to like this video if you are watching on YouTube and subscribe to my channel so that you always get new videos whenever they drop. If you're listening to this podcast, thank you so much. Make sure that you follow the show so that you always get the latest episodes delivered right to your device. And keep in mind that I am currently onboarding new clients into my fat loss transformation program. In this 90-day program, I'm going to show you how to burn fat and keep it off for good. I'll give you a customized training program as well as a customized meal plan and step-by-step coaching and guidance along the way. If you are interested in this, make sure to click the link that's in the show notes or in the video description below, or you can go to my website, jaydigains.com. That's JAYDIGAINS.com. And without further ado, let's get into the episode. When you're working at your computer for so long, it's very common to begin to hunch forward, and before you know it, you're sitting in kind of like a cashew shape. Now, this is not only really bad posture, but it's also really bad for your health. When you're sitting like this, it puts a lot of strain on the muscles in your back, especially the spinal erector muscles, as well as your trapezius and rhomboids. A lot of people also tend to round their shoulders forward while they're sitting like this, which can also weaken the back of the shoulders and make the front of your shoulders really tight. So when you go to do exercises like bench press or push-ups or some kind of overhead press, you might experience shoulder pain because your body is just so used to being in a position of being rounded forward and out of alignment that when you go to perform other exercises, you may not realize that you're performing them out of alignment, which can cause pain and strain in the muscles. So let's learn how to fix this posture so that you can build up your back, sit with a better posture, and experience less pain and reduce your risk of injury while exercising. And one of the best ways that you can combat bad posture and poor alignment is to practice what are called pulling exercises or pull-based exercises. So let's take a look at some of my favorite pulling exercises to use for my clients and to help myself to strengthen the back and improve posture. Number one, the most beginner-friendly pulling-based exercise is a seated row, either with a cable machine or with a band. Performing this exercise from a seated position allows you to really focus on engaging the right muscles in your back. Whenever you're performing pulling-based exercises, it's really important to sit with a nice tall posture with your shoulders stacked right over your hips and your head forward. You also want to actively push your chest forward and draw your shoulders down away from your ears. When you pull the resistance back, you should pull it straight to your sternum while squeezing your armpits and pushing your chest forward. This is going to give you maximal engagement in all of those back muscles, the latissimus dorsi, the lower and mid trapezius muscles, as well as your spinal erectors. And it's also a good idea to practice keeping your chest pushed forward even as you reach the weight back to the starting position. Practicing keeping this posture while the weight is in motion is a great way to train yourself to sit with a nice tall posture and keeping your body in alignment. This is really the best way for you to sit, regardless of whether you're exercising or working at your computer. Sitting with your shoulders stacked over your hips allows for your belly to make room for your diaphragm to expand so you can get nice deep breaths. And you're also placing a lot less strain on your lower back and spine. And when you feel like you're ready to advance this exercise, the next step would be to take out the bench or the seated position and perform this exercise from a standing position. This will force your core to work a little bit harder because after all, one of the most important things to developing good, healthy posture is developing a strong core. So when you perform exercises that make you engage your core to stay stable, when you're performing the exercises from an unstable position, that helps you to engage your core and better train that posture. You perform the exercise exactly the same, keeping your chest forward, your shoulders down away from your ears, and trying to keep that alignment even as you reach the weight back forward. You can do this from a staggered stance position, which I find helps a lot with balance, or you can keep both of your feet together and lean back a little bit, depending on the amount of weight that you're using. Both of these exercises are incredibly beginner friendly, so I would start with them before graduating to more advanced and unstable variations. If you don't have access to a cable machine or to bands, you can also perform this exercise from an incline bench using dumbbells. Now, one thing that's really important here is that this exercise is focused on the lats. We call it a lat row. You want to avoid flaring your elbows out too much because that turns the exercise into a rear delt row, which is important to practice as well. But here we really want to focus on getting those lats engaged. Once you've mastered the form for any of these variations of the lat row, then you can start to add some instability and different stances to make the exercise more difficult and to challenge your core strength. One of my favorite variations of this is the single arm row, which you can practice leaning on a bench. Because you have the weight loaded in only one hand, this is going to force your core muscles to have to work harder to stabilize you and keep you in this position. When you are doing the single arm row from the bench like this, it's really important that you are actively pushing your hand into the bench and avoid sinking into the shoulder of the hand that's on the bench. You want your whole body to stay kind of active to keep you stable here. Another important tip to keep in mind here is that when you pull that weight up, you're going to pull it toward your hip rather than just straight up and down. So the starting position of the exercise, the weight should be right below your shoulder. But then as you lift it up, it should come toward your hip and then move forward again as you reach the weight down toward the floor. Now, another variation of the single arm row that I really like using the bench is the modified gorilla row. For this, you have both of your hands on two weights that are resting on the bench, and you'll alternate pulling the weight up in a lat row to either side. Because of the way that you're standing, the weight is going to come more toward the inside of your hip rather than the outside of the hip. One of my favorite ways to advance this exercise is to use kettlebells and bring the weights to the floor, which you can do once you have developed mobility in your hamstrings and the confidence in this exercise to be able to do it in this position. But there's nothing wrong with starting with the weights on the bench. The gorilla row is one of my favorite exercises for practicing core stability as well, because as you're alternating lifting the weight up from one side to the other, your abdominals and your obliques have to engage to keep you in the same place and keep your torso rigid. So again, this is another one that's really great for helping you to not only train your back muscles, but to also train your core, which is another part of having good posture. Then number 5, one of my favorite variations of the row to practice once you have developed the strength as well as good hip hinge technique is the Barbell Reverse Grip Row. This is one of the most difficult variations of the row, but it is so great for helping you to develop back strength in all of the muscles in your back, including your lats, your spinal erectors, your rear delts, and many other muscles have to work to stabilize you as well, like your glutes and your hamstrings, as well as your abdominals. But before you try this variation, you want to make sure that you are really good on your hip hinge technique, that you can perform RDLs or Romanian deadlifts with good technique, that you have the core strength to be able to maintain a good position throughout the exercise. You want to be able to lift the weight up and back down without rounding your spine and losing engagement in your glutes or in your core. This is also one of the best exercises for helping you to develop grip strength, which is super important if you want to be able to lift heavy. Now, of course, in addition to lat rows, there are many other exercises that you should be practicing for developing your back strength, like back flies, rear delt rows, where you keep your elbows a little bit more flared out to the side to bias the rear delts as well as the other muscles in the back of your shoulders. But if you're short on time in the gym and you only have time for a few exercises, doing some variation of a lat row will do the trick for engaging and training and strengthening the muscles in your back. If you have time to do other exercises, this will go even further toward helping you to improve your posture. You can add in things like back flies from the incline bench, dumbbell Ys from the incline bench as well, and lat pullovers. So give these exercises a try, and of course, as always, you want to make sure that you listen to your body. It's totally normal, and it's actually a good thing if you feel the target muscles burning. But what we want to avoid is any kind of sharp pains, especially in your joints. If you have any questions about these or any other exercises, leave them in the comments below this video if you're watching on YouTube. And as a little heads up, I am going to be very soon launching my all-new Body Sculpt coaching program, where I will go much more into detail about a lot of different exercises, including the rows. And just like with my fat loss transformation program, you'll get a custom training plan as well as a custom meal plan and step-by-step coaching for the entire 90 days of the program. If you'd like more information on that, click on the link below this video on YouTube or in the show notes. Thanks so much for watching this episode of the Coaching Corner podcast. Again, I'm Jade Harrison, aka JD Gains. If you'd like more information on me or the services that I offer, head to my website, jdgains.com. That's JAYDIGAINS.com. And make sure to follow me on my socials, which are linked in the show notes or the video description below. And also make sure to like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe to my channel so that you never miss new videos. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure to follow the show so that you always get the latest episodes delivered right to your device. And I'll be back again later this week with another new episode of the Coaching Corner podcast. In the meantime, make sure that you eat your veggies, eat your protein, drink your water, and take care of yourself. And I will see you soon.